Hey guys, welcome back to another week of hanging out with us because we love this. We find so much joy in this. So thank you for being here. This is Kelly D. Shift happens, my friend, and I'm Dr. B. And we're just going to talk all things real life. Just two girlfriends hanging out, trying to empower others to be the best version of themselves. And last week, if you popped on, we talked a lot about like reflection and identity and like, who am I? Who am I in my role? Who am I without my role? Like, what does this even look like? Right. And so, I wanted to bring forward this week, I like words matter. And Kelly and I are going to talk to you guys a little bit about this because I received a Facebook friend request from somebody that I knew like 33 years ago. I would have to literally do the math. But this person and I played soccer together briefly, like high school time frame. And I remember her name, I remember what she looked like, but I didn't really remember what years or any really other details at that time. So we get to chit chatting on Facebook, and she was like, well, for whatever it matters, you're one of the best soccer players that I ever was blessed to play with. And you were such a great leader. And I'm not sure what it matters at this point, but I just wanted to tell you that. And I was like, and I responded and I told her, I said, really the like good soccer player part, like at this point in my life is not really relevant. Thank you. But like that doesn't necessarily, it's cool. That's
Doesn't feed
awesome.
you.
I wasn't, yeah, like it doesn't
Yeah,
fuel me. It might have in my 20s and I'd have been like
for sure.
ego, right? But
Yeah.
now the leadership part that she spoke on, and like that meant so much to me because I love being a leader. I love empowering others. I love inspiring others. I love leading. I love paving the way even when it's hard. And so for her, and like to see that I was doing that in my teenage years and that someone 33 years later has the kindness to, one, reach out and friend me, but two, actually go out of her way to say that, I was just like, dude, that's so rad. Like words matter. That mattered so much. It is the fuel that keeps me going, whether it's someone from 33 years ago or a patient I had last week. And like, yeah, like it was so heartfelt. And I really like absorbed that and like breathed it in and just took some time with it because it really did matter for me.
So I
So,
just want to interrupt, right, and
yeah.
say to you, because that is one of your core belief systems
Mm,
in your that you are a leader, that you believe to give 100% to succeed. That
yeah.
was my whole point. And
Ah,
that's it.
bringing it all back together,
Yeah,
Kelly.
and you are in a place right now, right, in your
Hmm.
40s, business
Hmm.
owner, mom, wife, and everything else
All the
through your life
things.
experiences that you can, okay, oh my God, yeah, that's right. Your ego's not playing a role here. You're
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is what inspires me to
Hmm.
be a leader.
Hmm.
This is part of who I am.
Yeah.
Rah rah.
Yeah. And it's cool because I don't think I would show up any different. But what it does is it just really creates that little nudge and that affirmation of like, girl, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. It's like reassurance for me. And I'm like, yeah, it like re energizes me. Like, let's go. Right.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so that's pretty dope. But you were sharing with me that like you had a similar type experience in that kind of like that momentum and that just being reassured in what you're doing when you were
Yeah.
teaching.
So I just wanted to say that. So like every time that we want to do like a podcast, we talk about, what is happening in our lives, right?
Yes.
So we start talking about stuff, and we're both like, we should really be taping this. We should be
Yeah.
recording this
We do
because
that
this
every
is
time.
so we're kind of like going backwards now because we both wanted to share the stories
Yeah.
that we shared with each other because they're relevant to our identity of who we
Yes.
believe that we are. So what my story is that as you know, I was in Costa Rica a few weeks ago, and I just went back to work, and I teach part-time at a massage school. And I had quite a few students come up to me privately and say, I'm so glad that you're back, and we all missed you, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
just one
Mm-hmm.
student, but they were, and I was just like, what? Oh my God! And they're saying, yeah, like we needed your inspiration and to help us be self-empowered and
Mm-hmm.
to know that we're doing a good
Mm-hmm.
job. And I thought, oh my God, like I didn't realize that I did that. So when I heard when I heard these stories from, several different students, I realized to myself that part of my core belief is to self-empower not only
Mm,
myself but other
mhm,
people. And I
mhm.
and I truly live by that every day, especially when I'm teaching, or if I'm in a therapy session or whatnot with a client. I truly do try to teach them to be self-empowered, because we always remember. And I was commenting on the film Pretty Woman, when her character says we always remember bad stuff. And I
Mm.
thought that's so true. And from the moment I heard that line in that movie, that had always stuck with me. And I always try to switch it around and try to
Yeah,
remember the
yeah.
positive take from that day or that experience or whatever it is. And I know I sound like I'm, blowing sunshine, but it's a
You
true
are. That's why we
fact.
love you.
Like, because
It's
I
literally why we're here.
literally, yeah, but honestly, like, that's because I'm all about self-empowerment. Like,
Um,
that's what literally who I am at my core, at my core.
mhm, mhm. But isn't
So
that
that's what I
like
say.
that's too what can get us in the rut is when we're not focusing. Like things happen, right? And sometimes really crappy things happen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when we can like emotionally separate from that, right? And then look at like the positive takeaways or the takeaways that at least support us long term. They might not be
Right.
positive right then, but like the strength it took to overcome or the resources you use to get through it or whatever that
Yeah.
is, right? But like really looking at like what did I learn from this,
Mhm.
not labeling it positive or negative, but what did I learn
No.
from this that I can now take with me that's going to serve me either daily or if another incident, like whatever that is, right? And so being able to really sit there and say, for you is like, you're empowering others to reframe. Like, yeah, that sucked. What I just did didn't work out well. It's a failure. And instead of quitting, I'm going to look at that and say, okay, but what did I do well today?
Yeah, exactly.
And then move forward with
Exactly.
that, right?
We have to.
Mhm,
We have to,
mhm,
because that's the whole crux of why, you know, that so many people are on anxiety medication and they need
mhm.
therapy, and their children are on anxiety medication and they have to,
Totally.
do what, different things at school and this, that. I'm
Yeah.
really grateful that, like, my son didn't have any of that. I mean, we had some rough days and stuff, but truthfully, like, I believe that our kids today don't have any self-empowering tools
Mhm,
to get them through
mhm,
life.
mhm,
And we were talking about doing a kid segment because it's everywhere, how
mhm.
how the kids are being affected from
Right.
COVID, and just as parents, how we influence them too. So,
Mhm.
you know, everything was affected, school and everything else, but we'll get
Yeah.
on that topic another time. But just showing that, how being self-empowered, even if it's one thing a day or one thing a
Mhm,
week, how
mhm,
important it is, and
mhm.
how it affects not only ourselves, but it affects everybody in our lives, right?
Yeah, and our decision making, how we show up, how we look
Hmm.
at ourselves, how we talk to ourselves, because that
Yeah.
matters, right?
Yeah. And
Um,
our identity, right? It's one of our core, well, the principles and who we are,
mhm,
and if we don't feel self-empowered, which is part of being confident, and being able to be vulnerable on our terms, like we've talked about
mhm,
all these
mhm,
topics in our podcast. But truly, it's all about self-empowerment and how you identify
yeah,
with that, right?
mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah. Whew,
So there.
cool.
Is
I
it
got
cocktail
nothing.
hour yet? What
I
time
know
is
it
it?
feels like
It's
it.
half
Well, it
past
depends
one
on where
my
you
time.
are at. For me, it's 2:30. For you, it's
That's
what?
cocktail hour. It's
I
Sunday.
don't know, but shift happens. So my drink is in this cool mug.
Yeah.
Ah, I really should have got the pink handle or the black handle. Anyway, no, I love this. I love this because I
Next
think this
round.
gives each of us something to chew on to
Yeah.
just, well, one, not only the, okay, so let's talk about this for a quick sec. Well, quick secs with me are never like actually quick seconds, but
Let me put the
um
timer on.
yeah. Yes, do that. But this idea of like, I love giving out encouragement, compliments, love, little love, generosity things, like whatever that is, like dropping a plant off at your front door or sending you a card or sending you even a text message that's like, hey girl, I love you. Hope you're having a great day. Like just little reach outs, right? It's actually in my F bomb. So my top 5 things to do every day to have a good foundation. But at the end of the day, one of the things that I had to learn to do, part of my identity was I gave 100, always for someone else, people please. And I had to learn how to receive.
So this is how you are in excess, right?
Hmm.
Was my whole point, is if you're, just case in point, is you're in a leadership role, you believe 110 to succeed,
Totally. Totally.
then you're in excess because you give, 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 give. So all
Correct.
you givers out there, you're in
Ugh,
excess right now.
killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. So
You're in
yeah.
excess.
So I had to learn to receive. I will tell you though,
We have
the
to send this to Gary so he can watch.
yeah.
Gary's
Carrie
my
is her
brother.
brother. I don't know
Yeah.
if I did. I just point. I don't on my screen. It's that way, but I guess it's probably that way. I don't know.
No, the other way.
Anyway,
The other
yeah,
way.
what? Stop that way up. Anyway, receiving was one of those things where okay. So I heard this quote. I want to say it was Eckhart Tolle, but if I'm wrong, sorry to who said this quote. But it had something to do with the fact of you can only give, like truly, you can only give at the capacity that you can receive. And I was like,
Mhm.
whoa. So if I'm
Yep.
just giving all the time and I'm not receiving, in theory, I'm not really giving because I'm giving from a place of like emptiness, right? Because there's
Yeah.
not this currency or this abundance that's happening, this flow. It's not the give and the receive. So I really had to work to like open up to start. So like something, okay, so something from a receiving standpoint point could be this idea of like you run into somebody at the store and they're like, "Oh my god, I love your hair." And you're like, "Oh, like that like this is dirt like 2 weeks dirty hair." So we like minimize whatever the compliment is or like that
Yep.
blouse is beautiful. Oh, I got this for like 9.99 at Ross.
Right.
Right? Like so it's like this immediate like oh like I'm not going to receive that. So what I've learned and this is just me, but over the years is if somebody says like I had on these adorable rain boots the other day because it's been raining here for like 2 weeks straight. I feel like we're in the Pacific Northwest, but
Like
they're
me.
super cute. Yes, like you. And I had a couple people compliment my like, oh my gosh, those rain boots are adorable. I think it was one of the teachers at the front office. And my response was, thank you so much. That was really kind of you. So I want to like my compliment back is like, you were being kind in that moment, but I've also said thank you. I wasn't like, oh, these
Yep.
dirty things, I really need to wash them. And like, yeah, they were like 5.99. I got them on like that, I was like, thank you. That was very kind of you, or that was really sweet of you to say. Or so that's kind of my gift back to them is really amplifying what they did to tell me they liked my boots, right? So,
Yeah, and just to spin it around, because you know I like to do that. When we don't accept a compliment, right, from a person that is putting themselves out there to share it, then we diminish their importance,
mm-hmm,
their significance,
mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
think about that the next
Mhm.
time that we don't accept a compliment,
Right.
right? Because that person's going out to say to you, whatever it is, as a
Mhm.
compliment, and you're like, oh, no, it's not. So you're literally diminishing their opinion, their thought process,
Mhm.
you know, think about
I
that.
I remember, so I'm gonna give you guys this is like straight up vulnerable, but I'm gonna lay it out there for you because I guarantee some of you have been in this place or are in this place, but I used to have really negative self-talk about body image. And I remember my husband and this was quite a few, probably 3 or 4 years ago, working out and I've changed since then because this was that moment of like awareness because my son was in the garage working out with us as well. And I remember my husband saying something like, wow, like, wow, you really like that squat weight was fantastic. Whatever. It was a compliment about my squat. And I made the comment, well, if I was more fit or if I weighed less, I don't remember how I said it, then maybe I could have done it better. So it's like, here he is, like going out of his way to be like, girl, get it, Knox, and I'm like immediately squashing it, but I'm talking terribly about myself at the same time. So not only
Yes.
does he hear that, and I've, like you're saying, I've undermined his compliment and negative self talk, but now my, at the time, 4 or 5 year old, whatever he was, is hearing mom talk poorly about herself
Yeah.
as I'm like that. And in that moment, it like literally was like this, like, like, hello, Brienne. Do you realize like what you've just
Yep.
done in this moment? Instead of just being like, thanks. Yeah, I've been working really hard, or thank you so much for the compliment, or whatever it is, right? And just being like, I appreciate you and your accountability out here too, because I probably wouldn't be working out as much if I didn't have somebody to be accountable with. I could have responded
Yeah.
in so many different ways, but it was that moment of awareness for me of like, whoa. And it just came out. It was like I didn't even think about it. It's just like, nah,
Hmm.
nah, nah, you know,
And just to tap onto that,
because Kelly likes to spin it around. We are totally sending this to Carrie, by the way.
yeah, is because that now your son thinks it's okay to say that you're fat or overweight.
Or or if he chooses to date a female or a
Yep,
male, whatever it ends up being, and that person talks poorly about themselves, he's just gonna think it's natural and normal. And I was
that's
like,
right.
ooh, I don't want, like,
Exactly.
no.
So this is exactly the life experiences, right, that
Mhm,
we have within our that create our belief systems of us being overweight or not good enough or
mhm,
not strong enough or not
mhm,
pretty enough or whatever
mhm.
it is.
Yeah, yeah.
It's exactly it. But my whole point is that how it affects everybody. If we have those belief systems within ourselves and the
Mhm.
verbal diarrhea that we all have that we share for ourselves,
Yes.
it we share it with everyone in our
Mhm,
lives. So
mhm,
no wonder why people have
mhm.
have low self-esteem and everything else.
Yeah,
Don't get me
yeah.
started again on
Oh, girl. It's a good thing we're recording.
I know.
See, we just love having you guys here. Thanks for being here. So yeah, I mean, so much to think about, right? Like, but to like pull it all back together is just this idea of that your words matter,
Yeah.
and affirming yourself and the positive things about yourself, affirming like a situation and what you're able to bring from that situation and move forward positively, or at least as something that's going to help you in the future, even if that situation was really difficult or not good. But coming back to like, who are you, and realigning and reflecting, and being able to adjust as you evolve as a human, as you evolve in the different seasons of your life, and knowing that it's okay for those things to change, just like we were talking about Kelly's business changing as she evolves and things like that. So just that reminder, that reflecting, coming back to like who you want to be, who you desire to be, and then just really affirming that you are that person showing up every day. And if you weren't that day, then what can I do to change tomorrow, to act differently tomorrow, in order to be
Yeah.
that person that I desire to be, right?
Yeah. So, again, just to tag on is just bringing into your awareness, like who you are and whatever you want, like write it down. Write it
Hmm.
down and just see, are you there yet?
Hmm.
No. What do I have to change? That's part of who you're becoming, if you will.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I heard this saying, now we're circling back, but I heard this saying and it was like, don't dress.
Again, we're just
I
gonna
know.
circle back
Sorry,
for the
guys.
fourth
We should
time.
just pull this around. We're gonna block it. So I don't know, whatever. So it was this
For the
saying
fourth
of
time.
don't dress for the job you have like now, but dress for the job that you want.
Yep.
And so this idea of talking to yourself in that same way, like maybe today you aren't performing your best, but talk to
Right.
yourself like you are, right?
Yep.
And dress in a way that lights you up, and creates a higher vibration, so that when you show up, that you're showing up in that higher vibration, and you're
Yep.
radiant, and you're more authentic to who you want to be. If you're not already that person per se, you
Hmm.
are, because it's in you, but like, you get what I'm saying, if you're not acting in that way.
Yeah, you got to take action towards it, right? So
Yeah.
that's what I taught my son, Graydon. When you go to a job interview or you're going out
Hmm.
somewhere, you dress for success. Like it's not
Yeah. Mhm.
it's not trying to brainwash, but it's reality. Like, be the person that you are growing into in his case, or
Yep.
dress and have that whole mindset of the person that you want to become, because we're constantly evolving, like you said,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
we have to grow. If we
Mhm.
don't grow, we're just going to be like pylons.
Yeah. Yeah. You said a word earlier that I was like, "Is that a Canadian word?" But I didn't stop you. Now I can't remember
Which
what
one?
it was. I don't know. It started with a C, I thought, but I don't remember. But
A
anyway,
C?
I thought it was earlier, like halfway through this thing. I don't know. But
Do you
anyway,
remember what
no.
the conversation
No, my
was?
brain has gone in 80 directions since then,
Okay.
Kelly.
That's
It'll come to me like tonight in a dream and I'll text
that's
you and
what
be like, "This is
happened.
the word." So
That's right.
you probably caught it too, especially if you're not Canadian, because I have a feeling it's Canadian. Anyway, all right, let's circle this up and we'll move into
For the fourth time.
because Kelly and I could talk for days, which is why
Oh
we're
my God.
here. We just have to
Yeah.
know when to cut it off and when to start back up. So thank you
Yeah.
guys. Mwah, we love you. Thank you for being here. You are totally worth it. And we'll see you next week. Have a good
Tune
one.
into the next one.
Yeah, bye.